We are back with the Buffalonian podcast, betting on the Bills week 2. And we have a very exciting announcement to make. We will be joining the likes of many other great podcasts on the Kaz Source Podcast Network and the Sports Epreneur Plus Network. This is a great honor, and we all appreciate the opportunity so very much. And we are looking forward to a long and prosperous partnership with them. And Dom, we got to take a second and thank our fans as well, our followers. We wouldn't be here without you guys, our listeners, our loyal listeners. And, you know, it's been a great ride. And
yeah, it's just thank you to you guys as well for, sticking with us. Our first podcast we recorded in my basement
with my iPhone sitting in the middle of the table.
And now we have a semi-studio and a legit our own area, with mics and, hopefully the sound got a little bit better. We're not talking about the Western New York weather for 10 minutes anymore. So
right, yeah,
improvements have been made, and we appreciate you guys sticking with us, and we're excited to join this network and continue to make great content for you guys.
Yep, fans always first. We'll make more great content. But on that note, we're going to kick it right off with week 2 of betting on the Bills. All right, let's go. We are back with betting on the Bills. I'm Joe Cali, and I'm joined by Dom Loss, and unfortunately not Mike Marino again. We're doing these back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday recordings, so, Mike's still a little under the weather, a little too busy for us, if you will. So
scheduling and a little under the weather.
Yeah, scheduling a little under the weather. So, but without you're stuck with just Dom and I again today, but we're going to go with it. We're going to rock with it. 2-man pod again, and without further ado, we're going to get right into it. The Bills had an outstanding week 1 showing. We talked about it on the earlier episode this week of the Buffalonian, and we don't want to bore you with more of that. So we're gonna get right into our Bills Titans game coming up here on Monday night. Dom, what are your thoughts going into this game after how they performed last week and how the Titans did too?
Well, I think it's a little bit bizarre that Monday Night Football is a doubleheader, and they have a 7:00 game or 7:15 game, I should say. And the Vikings-Eagles game is the late 8:30 game.
So are we prime time, or are they prime time?
I don't know what to say. I think we are, but also we're not getting the number 1 crew. I think Buck and Aikman are the Vikings game, so I think we're getting Steve Levy, Louis Rick, and those guys.
I think Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't think he's going to be actually up in the booth, but do you think he'll be with our broadcast, or will he be?
No, he's on Amazon.
Oh, that's Thursday night.
That's Thursday.
Oh, I'm so dumb. So wrong prime time.
Wrong prime time.
He'll actually be at our game with his shirt off in the stands. So, that's where he'll be. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I think, Derrick Henry and the Titans lost to Dable and the New York Giants.
Yes, let's spend a second on that. I mean, they blew that game.
Yeah.
They blew that game.
Yeah.
They also didn't look good. They also didn't look great in that game. I mean, they had a pretty dominant first half. They led 13-0. Then, the Giants had a nice little touchdown drive, then a long touchdown from Daniel Jones to Sterling Shepard.
Daniel Jones didn't look awful. He had a couple.
He had a Josh Allen moment, rookie Josh Allen moment where he threw an interception and Dable ripped him.
Oh yeah.
But the Giants kind of at the end of it deserved to win the game. It was 20-13. The Titans muffed a punt, and then Jones threw the pick, and then the Titans got the ball back after the pick. 3rd and 1, they got too cute, didn't hand it off to Derrick Henry,
Yeah, I don't know how you don't put the game in his hands at the end. I mean, I get it. His injury, it might be he's not the same, you know what I mean? He hasn't fully healed from it.
He's still Derrick Henry, though.
Yeah, he's still King Henry, and I don't know. That's kind of what worries are going into this game. But our defensive line is so much better than it was last year. You know what I mean? So I feel like we're going to be in for a different story. But just to lose to the New York Giants, it's Saquon Barkley ran all over them. It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, so I think what's important to take away from that game is Jeffrey Simmons, the interior defensive lineman for the Titans, is still a beast. Yes. And he's a problem. And I think we talked about this when the schedule came out of the Bills' interior offensive line is going to get tested right away. I mean, obviously Aaron Donald last week Now you're gonna go in against Tennessee and against Jeffrey Simmons. Down the road you're gonna play Cam Hayward. Chris Jones, Kenny Clark of the Packers.
Right.
All
Yeah.
in the first 8 weeks of the year. So
Yeah, our first half schedule's a little tough. Like,
yeah,
the Packers though kind of fell apart, but I mean they've
we'll
receivers.
see with them. I think they're gonna be improved by the time we get to that matchup. But it's an exciting game, but it also shows that the Tennessee has a lot to prove. Losing your home opener to a team, that like the Giants, who aren't really a great team, and I would say that they think they blew their chance of winning that game.
Yeah.
They led 13-0 at halftime. They didn't.
No, and the Giants were
They let
coming
them stick
back
around.
too. Yeah,
They
were.
stick around.
Yeah. No, that was a disappointing game. But then I don't know. You look at the opposite. You look at our game, and it's like Bills are 10-point favorites. You know what I mean? Like it's, and I get it. We technically have that 3 for home team advantage. You know what I mean? The 3 points, the field goal, but you can't argue that it's looking to be in the Bills' favor as of right now, just based off of last week. But then again, the Titans have been a matchup for us for the past few years, where it's been down to 1 touchdown. Allen slips on the goal line. You know what I mean? Like it was just.
Well, yeah. So obviously, these teams are going into this game. I know it's only week 2, but a little bit different, sides of the coin per se. Of the Bills coming in hot, made a statement, home opener now after opening the season with a dominant win against Super Bowl champs. A lot of rest too.
Yeah.
And then the Titans are coming here, blew their home opener to honestly an inferior opponent. If we're gonna be completely honest about it, like they should have won
Did
the
you see
game.
Dable dancing around in the locker room with him?
Good for him. We talked a little bit on the Buffalonian podcast. It's good for him. It's also good for the Bills to see their coaching tree and I guess also GM tree. Joe Schoen
Right. Yeah.
over there. But again, like it's it's dangerous to just assume that the Titans are gonna roll over. The Titans, a very proud organization the last couple of years with Mike Vrabel. They've won a lot of football games, and as you said, they've caused a problem for the Bills. Obviously, the last 4 matchups, I believe they've met the last 4 years, and they're 2-2 against them, but they've lost the last 2 years.
Yeah.
The matchup was a weird COVID matchup where the Bills just kind of got dominated.
They did. Then, I remember watching that game. I was so mad.
I think it was on a Tuesday.
It was because the Titans had COVID outbreak. So then we played a Thursday night game.
No. What happened was this. They were supposed to play the Titans, I believe, on Monday night. That game got played on Tuesday, and they were going to play the Chiefs that Thursday, and that got moved to the next Monday.
Yeah, no, everything
something
got
like
shuffled
that.
around.
Something like that. I don't know if I'm exactly telling that right there. It was a couple years ago, but
I don't know. It sounds like you are.
And
sounds like you're on the button.
And then in 21, it was one of those situations where the Bills really dominated the first quarter, but they were only up 6-0. One Derrick Henry run, it was 7-6, and then it was a dogfight the rest of the way. Again, one of those games where the Bills really should have won. They didn't really step on the head.
Right.
So.
No, and that's how, honestly, anytime the Bills lost last year, they either won by a massive number of points or lost by less than a touchdown or a touchdown. You know what I mean? Like it was within points. So honestly, I would like to see that eliminated, and let's wipe our hands clean of these Titans week 2.
I do like to say, Pete, the last 2 matchups have been favorable against the Titans, but the match before that, they won in 19. That was a pretty big win for them to get to the playoffs at 10-6.
Right.
The match before that, it's kind of an important one for Josh Allen's first career win, Buffalo.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Because they were 1-3. Their only win was against Minnesota when he jumped over Anthony Barr as a rookie, and then there you go. A second career home start after losing the Chargers was against the Titans, and they won off a game-winning field goal by Hauschka. Wasn't 16-15, something really defensive. So it's not all bad history against the Titans.
No.
Also against the Houston. Well, listen. They had the Music City Miracle against us. We have the comeback against the Oilers, who are the Titans franchise. So
right.
It's kind of it's a
give and take.
conflicted history.
Yeah, it's not just one-sided. It's bounced back and forth. But
so before we jump into the key matchups or what we're really looking forward to in the game, we talked a little bit about the history. The Bills coming in a little bit hotter right now after their win. Titans a little bit down on themselves, I would say. Let's first look at, as we're recording this, on Wednesday. So we're not going to get up to date really injury reports We obviously have one for Wednesday, but the Bills do play on Monday, so obviously they have about a half a week till obviously Monday, so people can progress throughout the week. But right now it's not looking great for the interior of the defensive line right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, because these are two big guys that definitely could help that run contain. You lose out on Ed Oliver, right? What is it? What
Ed
injury is
Oliver
it? Ankle?
Currently is nursing an ankle injury, and then Tim Settle, who is throughout the preseason nursing kind of a calf injury. I think someone alluded to it that he was wearing a sleeve on his calf in the second half of the Rams game. Didn't really play much in the second half either.
No,
Oliver. So
they had him out. But honestly, after the way the defensive line played last week, you got Jordan Phillips with 2 sacks. You know what I mean? Is it that big of a miss?
Well, okay, let's put it this way. Jordan Phillips' career is based off inconsistency.
Right. I understand that.
Listen, he had his best game of his career. It was a legit game.
Right, but you've got Boogie Basham too.
Yeah, but he's more. He could sneak inside, but this is a team in the Titans that you don't want to be undersized against because they want to. This is different from the Rams. The Rams kind of want to spread, do a. Kind of like pulling people.
Well, they want
get an advantage in the run game. The Titans are just gonna give Derrick Henry the ball and say, "Let's go."
Pound up through the middle.
Pound up, and listen, Phillips is gonna be that's not what I should say, but Daquan Jones was solid. Phillips was solid in the middle. We'll see if he could do it again, but losing. Hopefully they can at least get one of Oliver settled back, and then have Shaq Lawson. Be activated because he's a very good run defender as well, Shaq, and he also has the ability to also move inside for a couple snaps, kind of like Boogie. So I think it's just incredibly important for the Bills to understand that it's week 2. I think they understand that there's no reason to really rush these guys at this point.
Right. Yeah. They have a whole season ahead of them, but this is. Like you said, these first few weeks are where our tougher opponents are. That's the toughest part about it. You know what I mean? So when do we face the Chiefs? 6?
Week 6, yes.
6? Yeah, that's within we have 4 weeks to prepare, and that's is that a primetime game?
No, that's a CBS primetime game.
4:15. Okay.
4:25.
4:25. Yeah.
It's the classic. Someone explained it.
Well, yeah, they pick one game a year that they want, and
someone explained it as it's a Brady Manning slot.
Yeah.
Of how they used to pick those kind of games. You get to pick one game from rotation of
because it gets the ratings, and you look at Allen and Mahomes. How could it not get the ratings? So they want money. That's simply put. That's what they want.
That's why that game now is technically quote unquote not in prime time.
Yeah, it would be Thursday night probably if CBS didn't bid on it, but. I
think that would actually. I think it would be Sunday night, like last year.
Yeah, you're right. Any nighttime, prime time.
But it would be a prime. You're right. If that game didn't get protected, that's 100% a prime time game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, before we jump completely off the rails, it would be kind of interesting, what game if that game didn't get protected, what game on the Bills schedule that's the current prime time game would get off.
Maybe this one.
Yeah,
I think this would probably go 4:15.
Probably 1 o'clock because it's in Buffalo.
Right.
It's one of those situations where the Bengals game they wouldn't take out, the Rams game they wouldn't take out, the Pats game I think is a divisional game they wouldn't want to take that one out.
No, Patriots and Bills always have one primetime game at least.
Yeah,
one season.
Packers no, I think maybe Packers because it's an NFC game, but Rodgers, Allen. No. So
no.
I think that okay, we'll jump back on track after that, but that's
no, definitely this game would be the one to get moved around just because it is Ryan Tannehill led Titans as opposed to the Kansas City Chiefs, but
So look again, quickly going back at the injury report, Tommy Doyle and who is the other? Oh, Quinton Morris. Sorry.
Yes, Quinton Morris.
I was thinking of Shaq. Every time I think of Quinton Morris, I'm sorry. I just think of I think of Shaq Lawson being injured, and I realize that I'm flipping the two people.
Yeah.
That Shaq Lawson was healthy scratched.
He was.
It's just weird because Shaq Lawson's actually a good football player, so it's actually weird for him to be healthy scratched.
I wonder why. I don't know. We talked about that the other day.
It's because of numbers. It's because of numbers. But again, he'll probably be active for this one because of his run defense ability. Defense against the run. But
yeah.
So those two being healthy. I don't think Doyle changes much, to be honest. I think he'll just be one of those guys that's a healthy scratch, even if he is healthy. But I would say Quinton Morris, man, Tommy Sweeney was pretty bad. Week 1 did not get graded well by PFF. Obviously, was number 310 on the depth chart. So I would assume if Quinton Morris is healthy and ready to go, that him and Tommy Sweeney do a little, switch-a-poo win.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Morris is clearly, like we said the other day, he outplayed Doyle and Howard. That's why Howard is no longer with the Bills.
You mean
but
Sweeney?
Sweeney. What am I thinking? I am all over the place. I apologize. This is just it. You got me messed up with the Shaq Lawson comparison. And I got thrown off. But no, he outplayed Sweeney, and it's just I think Quentin Morris is a great tight end. You know what I mean? I think he's a good tight end too.
I think he has a chance, to make an impact in the receiving and be a solid blocker, which is just what the Bills need.
Both of what Tommy Sweeney is not.
But really, if you look at it, either one of those guys is really, in my book, tight end 3, because I think Reggie Gilliam is quote-unquote tight end 2, but he's a fullback.
Right. So. Yeah. I mean, he's a great blocker, and he can run if you need him to. So, I mean, he's pretty good.
Get some receiving as well. So let's jump off of the injury report. Hopefully, we see some progression from those two guys. I would say at the proper moment, Settle would probably be ahead of Oliver. But again, calf injuries are weird. They're nagging. So we'll see. So let's look at some key matchups. Joe, would you like to start, or would you?
Honestly, my biggest matchup is this. If these starters of Ed Oliver and Tim Settle are not there, the Bills' defensive line against Derrick Henry in the run. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this week they're going to heavily use Derrick Henry because they know that's how they won in the past few years. So it's just, I feel like that's going to be the biggest question of this game. Like, if our D-line holds up and stops the run, then they're going to have to force Tannehill to throw, and that's when things get sketchy. So that's my biggest matchup for this game for sure.
Yeah, I think defensively the biggest matchup is if they can stop the run.
Yes.
And this is the first time they're going to be legitimately tested. I know the Rams, like to run the ball a little bit.
They ran negative yards with Cam Akers. So
but their offensive line isn't that great, and Darrell Henderson, solid running back, but he ain't no Derrick Henry.
Exactly.
So I think that's, I would say that's a really big match. That's the number one key for this defense, is that if you slow down Derrick Henry, you slow down this offense, because Ryan Tannehill is very good in the play action game, one of the best play action quarterbacks in the NFL. But if you can't run the ball, the play action becomes easier to defend.
Right.
Then if
then it's going to be a pass. It's going to be a play action.
So that's like the second key. That's like the second key. The first key is stop the run. Second key is defend the play action.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you defend those two things well, you're going to have success against the Titans, because obviously those are the two best things they do. But now you could just have Von Miller, Boogie Basham, Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa on the edge, just tee off. Just be like, all right, it's a passing play, no play action, just go.
Yeah.
Against Taylor Lewan, who's an all right tackle, I think Von will do his thing. So
that's what I was just about to say. I think if they do contain the run and they force play action, Von Miller's going to be back there every time. I think that 7 sacks we saw. Granted, the offensive lines are very different, but those 7 sacks we saw from the Bills D line, that's not a mistake. I think that's going to be a constant thing throughout the season. We're going to see numerous sacks from them. It's just they need to contain the run and force the play action and force the pass, like you said. So then they have those opportunities. But right now, I'm feeling good about where our team is right now and where their team is and this matchup in general.
Yeah, I think I like the matchup as well, just because it's familiar for them, for the Bills. Obviously, as we said, meeting for the last 4 times, a little bit of their tendencies. I also know a little bit of your tendencies, but I think the Bills are improved from last year.
Right, and
I would say the Titans are the opposite.
They've regressed absolutely, because the Bills are trending towards Super Bowl favorites, and the Titans. They won the conference last year, right? But was that off of?
They didn't win the conference.
Not the conference.
They
were number one seed. Sorry, I apologize.
They had the best record in the AFC.
They had the best record in the AFC. They're number one seed going into the playoffs. Was that a fluke based on opponents throughout the season?
Well, yeah, that's a fluke. They lost in the first round.
I know, but they still sacked Joe Burrow 9 times.
Yeah, they still lost.
Yeah, I'm just saying though. Is it like?
I don't think.
Was it ease of schedule?
Yeah, but I don't think anyone's
clouded it.
I don't think anyone's coming out there. Like, I don't think anyone's ranking the Bengals or Titans better than Chiefs or Bills at the end of the AFC last year.
Oh no, absolutely.
I think a lot of people picked the Bengals to beat the Titans. Excuse me. So a lot of people thought the Titans were like the worst division winner.
No, yeah, you're right.
I don't think that result really surprised me at all, and I think they were fluky. But I think that's credit to them that they were able to win those kind of games.
Right, and without Derrick Henry towards the end of the season. So, I mean,
Yeah, I mean credit to them, but also this year they don't have AJ Brown anymore, who was a real difference maker on the outside for them.
No.
Obviously, they lost Julio Jones as well. So I think this is for those young DBs that we're talking about. I don't think this is as much as man they're gonna go up against like some really good wide receivers. No, it's gonna be the little things. It's like, can you set the edge and run defense? That's gonna be can they tackle in space?
mm-hmm.
There's gonna be a run where Derrick Henry is gonna break through a little bit. Like, are you gonna be willing to put your body on the line and cut him down like Micah Hyde did last year?
Right, yeah, exactly.
I think that's gonna be the big test for these young DBs. Also, we gotta respect they have some wide receiver talent. Robert Woods is a solid wide receiver. Yeah, Traylon Burks.
Ex-Bill.
Traylon Burks is an athletic freak rookie, but he didn't really get that many touches. Only 5 targets and 3 catches for 55 yards against the Giants. But they're big. It's kind of interesting. Their other rookie Kyle Phillips is kind of their slot receiver, so it's a big matchup for Taron Johnson. He got a lot of work, a lot of targets thrown his way, so it's obvious that Tannehill trusts him.
Yeah,
and he's the one that made the big catch to set them in the field goal range when Bullock missed. So,
well, I think this is going to be a good test for the cornerbacks, if like Benford, you know what I mean, and Elam, because if we do stop the run, they're going to resort to Tannehill, and if they can't stop the play action, you know what I mean, if they're not getting back there, which I highly doubt, but like you said, coverage wise, they're going to have to step up and do what they did against the Rams, even though it's not as probable, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, they're gonna just have to be solid again in coverage, and they're gonna have to be willing and able defenders in the running game.
Right, and we can't have those first half jitters again where McKenzie drops that doesn't.
If we're shifting to offense, like if we're shifting.
Oh, sorry.
From defense,
I was just saying. Yeah.
No, but like if we're shifting defense to offense, obviously they can't afford to turn the ball over 4 times.
No.
And most of the time, when people do that, they lose the game.
Right, because honestly, it was 10-10, and it felt like we should have been crushing them, but those 4 turnovers really at the half really gave it up. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like it would have been a blowout if those didn't happen. Especially Zach Moss fumbling. He's back to his old ways again. I
think that there's a chance Zach Moss is inactive this week as
I think so too.
And Khalil Shakur is active. I think the big matchups for this week I would say are the Titans pass rushers versus the Bills offensive line, and Josh Allen versus Kevin Byard and Amari Hooker.
Yep.
One of the better safety tandems in the NFL. Josh said today that he's got to be able to process things pre-snap better because those safeties do a tremendous job disguising their coverages.
Yeah.
He needs to make sure that when the snap happens, his eyes are in the right place, he said.
Right.
And it's also,
and he's got to replicate what he did last week, 2.3 seconds before he got, what I mean? That's stellar. He's got to keep that up because that's fantastic.
I think it's going to be a quick passing game for the Bills again because Jeffrey Simmons, as I talked about, is a beast, and the interior offensive line is still kind of getting their chemistry. I'm not going to bash them yet, but then you also have guys like they're going to get a little lucky that Harold Landry, the leader in sacks last year for the Titans, unfortunately tore his ACL right before the season, so they don't want to deal with him. But Bud Dupree still, while he's overpaid, is still a very solid pass rusher, and Demetrio Autry is a very solid underrated pass rusher as well. And he gave those guys gave Spencer Brown a lot of problems.
They did.
In that game, and you saw with the interception to Byard last year. I'm sorry, last year, not last game, but last year. Josh gets his arm hit by Autry after he beats Spencer Brown pretty cleanly. So it's a pretty big revenge / bounce back game. For Spencer Brown, who was very solid in the opener against Leonard Floyd.
Right. He's definitely grown a lot in the offseason, I would say, as a player, and. He was out. He didn't play a full season last year, and it was his first season here. So it's just like, I feel like he's got a different perspective for season 2, and I think he's going in with a clean mind, and I think he's stepped up. Like you said, in the Rams, he looked pretty promising. So I hope he continues because that'd be awesome to have a guy like him be.
Yeah, especially on the other side, Deion Dawkins.
Yeah, exactly.
Deion, Austin didn't have a great game against the Titans. Now he won't be against Landry. He'll probably be against mostly Bud Dupree, but Deion last week didn't give up a single pressure in pass pro.
Exactly.
So I think
if you can replicate that with Spencer Brown, that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah,
in due time.
Spencer Brown can be solid. Cover One is a very good resource for fans. We're talking about in film review that Spencer Brown Spencer Brown's hands have gotten a little quicker, a little better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big thing for him. Obviously, he's a big guy, but you got to have really good hands to be an offensive tackle in this league. So if he can, if Spencer Brown can continue to build on a really solid performance week 1 into week 2 against these pass rushers, it'll be very good. Again, the reason why it was very good to be really quick pass was because you knew the offensive line was going to struggle with Donald.
Right.
You got to know the offensive line is probably going to struggle again a little bit with Simmons on the interior. And, as we said, the second matchup is Josh Allen versus those safeties.
Yeah.
Can he know where his eye is supposed to go away? That's the key to keep the
He
quick
can't
passing.
panic and just whip the ball away into coverage. You know what I mean? Like that's where if he rolls out to the right at any point where he normally, could throw that interception is on that panic run. Oh, I'm about to get sacked. You know what I mean? He's just got to keep calm, cool, and collected. And like you said, know where his eyes are supposed to be and throw the ball where it needs to go. So,
yeah, I agree with that. I think it's going to be interesting as well to see, if Shakir is active, what kind of role he might have, or if he's not, McKenzie versus Crowder, like who's going to have a bigger role.
Exactly. And it'll be interesting to see in person. We're making our return for the regular season to Highmark Stadium for the opener. Our record of going to any game
Hasn't been great.
has not been great. I don't think the Sabres won one game we went to.
I don't think the Bills won the game that you and I went to.
Nope.
We did, but
We went to the Monday Night Pats game last year. That just tells you how it's been.
and the opener.
Yep. And
But
the Steelers.
but to our credit, when we watched games together on TV together, the Bills were 2-0 last year.
They were. We watched that first Chiefs game and
The past playoff game.
Pats playoff game. That's right. Yeah. Yes. We were singing Motorin when Singletary was going crazy.
Yes.
Oh, they got to utilize him too, I think.
Oh no, that's another thing.
Because
That's gonna be
sorry,
important
that
as
just that dawned on me when we were saying that. But Singletary had a great, in my opinion, a good game.
well. With not as many touches as an RB1 should have. I think he should be the RB1 unofficially.
I think officially.
Officially, I'm sorry.
If you use
officially.
him the right way, which we've seen, not Dable trying to shove him up the middle, but use him as that finesse outside running back where he can bounce through, that's what you need. That's what he's going to be. And I think that's something also predicting the game we have to look for. But yeah, we'll be there, and it'll be the first time we're going back. So
Yeah, I believe Mike might be in as well. So I think the whole Buffalo Name podcast is going to be there, and we're going to be.
wouldn't that be the first Bills game the whole pod has been to all together?
And it's going to be very exciting, hopefully, and we're excited to break down what happens Tuesday.
Oh yeah, and lots of social media videos will probably be blasted out. So for your enjoyment, of course.
So let's predict the game. Monday night, another primetime game.
Let me check the weather real fast. What it's calling for.
Yeah, I think the weather.
If it's windy, Josh Allen.
Well, let's
always,
just put it this way: we're still, as we said about the injury report, about a half a week away. So anything could really happen. As
right.
I love how I said in the intro, we're not going to talk about the weather, 10 minutes of the weather, but we'll talk a little bit.
Calling
about
for scattered thunderstorms.
Yeah, I did think it was going to rain.
So here's my question: do the Bills punt?
Yes.
You think they punt?
Eventually, all team eventually has to punt.
I think we go one more game without punting, and it's this one.
What's your score prediction?
I'm predicting an absolute blowout. No punts, no turnovers. 42-14. Bills.
Wow. Well, no, Titans, please.
42-14. Bills absolutely destroy them. Henry's knocked out with another ankle injury. I think our defensive line cracks down. Von Miller gets 5 sacks to himself.
All right, that's a little.
I'm going
intense.
bold. First home game of the season, the home opener. You got to go bold.
I'm going to say 35-24. I think this is going to be a game, first quarter, Titans are going to have some success running the ball early. They're going to chew the clock, but the Bills in the second and third quarter take control of the game. And then by the middle of the fourth quarter, like that was against LA, the game will basically be over, and Titans probably score some garbage time touchdowns. So probably at halftime, probably 14-10 Bills, and then
Goes from there. I do have one more question for you, though.
Oh, man.
Along with predicting the game. This in the same category here. Who does Allen throw the first touchdown of the game to? And how so? I think it's Isaiah McKenzie.
He says he throws a touchdown pass.
I think he throws a quick slant to Isaiah McKenzie, 5-yard touchdown.
Wow. That's a tough question, actually. There's so many options. You know what?
Or does he bomb another 60-yarder to Gabe Davis?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be Dawson Knox. Didn't catch only caught one ball. I think they're gonna
Dawson. We trust.
I think they're gonna do a little one of those play action near the goal line.
Or does Dawson throw the touchdown to Josh? That's the real question.
No,
that very well could.
I think we're gonna get the reversal of that this time. So I think if If you want, I don't know what those betting odds are, but Dawson Knox first touchdown catch from Josh Allen. There you go.
Well,
you're welcome, people.
All right. Well, I honestly don't see that not happening. So I have to somewhat agree, but I'm gonna stick with quick slant to Isaiah McKenzie, 5-yard touchdown pass right down there. Third and it'll be 3rd and 5 on the goal line.
3rd and goal.
3rd and goal, but like 3rd and 5 because of 5 yards out. But without further ado, that's gonna end it for our first section of betting on the Bills. We'll be right back with more after this. Are you a fan of college football? Are you a fan of the Ohio State Buckeyes? Well, boy, do we have a podcast for you. Check out Buckeye Focused on Sports E+ with Nate Oliver. Listen in for all things Ohio State football as they hope to return to the college football playoffs this year. Now, without further ado, let's get back to the show. We are back with Buffalonian Podcast's Betting on the Bills, and we're going to get into our last week's picks and our future picks for the broad NFL
recap of last week.
A recap of last week's, yeah, and it's looking like a dead heat pretty much right now. Overall, these are the overall records, right?
Overall records, so 16 games. Obviously, we're gonna exclude a tie for now, but everyone has a tie. Obviously, everyone's got
a -1 after their record.
-1. That's gonna remain the same for the rest of the year. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we were close to doing a -2. After that. But I'm currently in the lead at 9-6, and then Mike and Joe are both a game behind at 8-7. And then on the pod, Mike and I, in the 5 games we picked last week, went 4-1, and Joe went 3-2. So
yes.
For the pod, obviously we predicted the Bills, Titans, and then we were going to pick 5 games coming up. So those 6 games will be to the pod total, and then obviously, follow us on Instagram as we release our entire picks.
Right. You can see our picks every week posted for all games on our Instagram page, and we'll be posting that on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook too this week. And without further ado, let's get into this upcoming week. What do you think?
Yeah, it was exciting last week. Obviously, going 4-1 on the pod was pretty good. Joe, I hope you to have the same.
Well, it's because I took a big pick on the Cardinals. I was hoping they would beat the Chiefs.
Listen, man, the Cowboys pick was a brutal pick on my end.
That was a very brutal pick on your end. You never underestimate Tom Brady.
Made a nice pick with the Browns over the Panthers. I zigged when everyone zagged.
It saved you.
Zagged when everyone zigged, I should say. Or
yeah, I'm glad I took we didn't pick the Steelers game, did we?
Last week, no.
But
you did pick them.
I did pick the Steelers in our off pod.
You also picked the Jets.
I did pick the Jets. I thought Joe Flacco was going to take Lamar Jackson's job once he doesn't sign back there again.
Oh,
so
God. All right. So let's officially transition to this week's pick. So the 5 games we're going to be discussing will be Chargers at Chiefs, Dolphins at Ravens, Vikings at Eagles, Bucks at Saints, and then Colts at Jags.
Oh, a classic matchup at the end, Colts and Jags.
Yeah, so obviously we every week we kind of pick 5 games that intrigue us. Obviously I don't consider like all of them to be the best quote unquote games.
Right. This week was kind of dry with content for games though. I mean, what was another one we could have picked? Green Bay and
the Bears on Sunday night, but that's kind of boring.
No, and especially after Aaron Rodgers' performance last week, that it wasn't looking like a good one to pick for the pod. So I'm gonna kick it off right here with the Chargers and Chiefs.
The Thursday night football.
For Thursday night football.
Ryan Fitzpatrick doing both Thursday and Monday night broadcasts.
Apparently, yeah, that's what I thought. I COVID cloud brain like Cam Newton had apparently when they were talking about that. But anyway, the Chiefs are favored by 4 points, and I'm gonna take the Chargers. I think this is where the dominance is proven in the AFC West. I think Justin Herbert and company overtake the Chiefs. I can't stress it enough. I think that, the Chiefs did great against the Cardinals defense, but now you have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa on the defensive line. You're done for. I think they break through, and there goes Mahomes scrambling around in the back like he, was breaking out and throwing passes last week. So I think this is a very different game, and this is going to be a statement for the Chargers if they're an actual contender or not for the AFC. So, that's where I stand on it. I know a couple players are injured, but
I disagree. I'm thinking I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs at home, primetime. Mahomes, Herbert, great game, but you do make a good point with Bosa and Mack, but the Chiefs have one of the best offensive lines in the entire NFL, and J.C. Jackson, their top corner, is questionable with an ankle injury. So even if he does go, are we sure he's going to be 100%? Keenan Allen, their best wide receiver, is already officially out.
Hey, they got Mike Williams, the fourth down king still. He
Don't
barely got
matter,
anything
man.
last week. It's his revenge
It
week.
don't matter. This is going to be a high-scoring game, I think. But Mahomes, you made a very good point, Joe, of my pick last week of the Cowboys of me picking against Brady. I will not be doing the same against Mahomes. And honestly, Joe, I feel like you should be doing the same thing after what you did last week, picking Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury.
You know what? I'm going to make a vow right now. Every week I bet against Chiefs and Mahomes.
Why?
Because I do not. I do
Just
not.
because you don't like them doesn't mean you shouldn't bet.
I genuinely like the Chargers more, even missing Keenan Allen. Genuinely.
Okay, but not every week you're gonna like
No, that was a little outlandish on my end. But I mean, like it's.
I was gonna make a comment you're gonna pick the Seahawks over the Chiefs, but the Seahawks are leading that division.
Geno Smith, MVP.
Third highest graded quarterback.
Yep.
NFL.
Those action green jerseys, they never lose. They've won 8 of 9 games in those jerseys. Just a fun stat for you.
Obviously, the Chiefs are going to be down Harrison Butker, their kicker, so that's a pretty interesting how they're going to actually not have Justin Reed kick, but I don't know who their backup kicker is. Trey Smith, one of their really good second year.
Didn't he go back out and kick with his plant foot barefoot last time?
Yeah, but he's injured, so they're not going to have him or himself again.
Right.
Trey Smith, their second year guard, very solid, is also a little bit banged up, so we'll see if he goes. But again, I just think this is Mahomes off for blood. I think a lot of people are saying this is Herbert's division now, and I think Mahomes is going to come out.
See, I think Herbert proves it's his division. I think it'll be exciting to watch tomorrow night.
Give me Mahomes, man. Mahomes at home on prime time. So the second game is Dolphins, Ravens. Ravens are a 3.5 point favorites.
I'll let you start first on this one.
All right. The Ravens obviously last year against the Dolphins kind of choked. That was the game where Robert Hunt, the offensive lineman for the Dolphins, scored a touchdown, but got brought back because it was an illegal touching.
Exactly.
Because you can't do that as an offensive lineman.
That was probably one of the funniest clips I've ever seen. When he just rolls in there, you know what I mean?
And I said in the first game with Mahomes, I think they make a statement, and I think the Ravens are going to make a statement too. I think this is going to be a blowout. The Chiefs game, I think, is going to be close. I think this Dolphins game is going to be a blowout. I think, Lamar Jackson wants to make a statement to his future team of the Dolphins that he's all that and he's worth the money. So I got the Ravens big over the Dolphins. Listen, I like the Dolphins defense. They're solid. The Dolphins offense, they have weapons, but I trust Lamar more than Tua, especially on the road for Tua.
Okay, so I'm going to be 100% honest with you here. It's either between fraudulent Lamar,
oh my God,
or Tua turn the ball over.
You gotta let your personal, griefs go and betting, man.
Not with gambling. You bet with your heart.
No, you don't. That's how you lose money.
No, listen. I've become a very wealthy individual off of betting with my heart, even though I'm not old enough to bet, so that's completely false. But I'm taking the Dolphins. I would take Tua turn the ball over and Tyreek Hill over fraudulent Lamar with no receiving core because they got traded away for picks.
I just think Lamar's going to make some plays, and I think that Baltimore defense is very good. I think Baltimore home team, I think they make a statement. They're one of the best teams in the entire NFL.
You know what? We've picked completely opposite so far. This is interesting.
I know, going to game 3. Listen, the pod record could really change here.
It is. This could be a complete turning point right now. So the Vikings and Eagles. Eagles are a 2-point favorite, and I'm going to take Captain Kirk and the Vikings, I think, after their performance.
So you're going to take all underdogs?
Yeah.
I guess I won't follow the all favorites. I'm also taking Kirk Cousins.
I trust Kirk Cousins over Jalen Hurts.
Well, what this line tells you is that Vegas thinks the Vikings are better than the Eagles because the Eagles are only 2-point favorites.
And like we said last week, or whenever we said it, I think this Tuesday, right, when we released the Buffalonian, the first one of the week, we were talking about how, if you're the home team and you should at least have 3 points in your favor for a field goal. So.
Sure, home field advantage is worth 3 points.
Yeah, so it's kind of that Vegas is telling you, and even, it's not a set in stone, but I just think the Vikings. I mean, Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins has become a recent rise as an MVP candidate for a lot of people. So I think...
Yeah, I really like what the Vikings... I know Green Bay doesn't have a lot of receivers, but they did a very good job defensively against the Packers run game. The Eagles want to run the ball with Jalen Hurts. It's going to be interesting.
They become a lot more pass first instead of Dalvin Cook.
It's going to be interesting how the Vikings slow down A.J. Brown. I think that's kind of a mismatch I would be a little concerned with. But for the Vikings, I mean, I know the Eagles have, James Bradbury and Darius Slay, but Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, my offensive player of the year. I think they'll make some plays. Dalvin Cook's a beast. The Eagles' defense really struggled with Detroit and Jared Goff a little bit, so I think, Kirk Cousins, Monday night primetime, puts up a 5-touchdown pass game, and the Vikings roll on the road.
I agree. So that brings us to our next game, Bucks versus Saints. Bucks are 2.5-point favorites. They don't even have. Well, they're the away team
on the road.
So, that kind of tells you that's where the Bills were last week. So, Jameis Winston faces off against his former team, the Buccaneers. So,
yeah, I think it's an interesting matchup based off last year, the Saints sweeping them. The Saints sweeping the Buccaneers and really causing Tom Brady a lot of issues. Obviously, it's in the Superdome in New Orleans, so it's gonna be a raucous environment
right
on the road. But Tom Brady, he's Tom Brady, man.
I'm taking the Bucks.
I learned my lesson last week. I think the Bucks are a complete football team. I think that defense is legit. I don't trust Jameis Winston. I think the Saints offense was really bad for most of that game and got lucky to beat a very good Falcons team. And I also thought the Falcons were able to move the ball a little bit on the Saints defense too. So I think Tom, was upset last week. They only scored 19 points in Dallas.
Right.
Kicked 4 field goals, only had 1 touchdown.
No, he's out for blood.
Yeah, he's out for blood.
And
we're gonna have a vampire podcast.
I guess so.
out?
Yeah, Mahomes is out for blood. Brady's out for blood.
Lamar's out for blood.
Yeah, I'm
Captain Kirk is out for blood.
Exactly. I'm taking Brady, no question. I've learned one thing and one thing only: never bet against Tom Brady unless he's playing the Bills. So that's just how it goes. But
that doesn't make any sense.
Why?
The Bills he's 32-3 against the Bills.
You got to bet for your home team though.
No, you don't.
Team. Yeah.
No, you don't.
Every time the Bills play, I wouldn't falter from that.
I don't know.
I'm not gonna pick the guy who destroyed them for 25 years.
I had that prediction that the Bills would win by more than 10 points, but I mean, the 10 points is a lot of points against the Titans. Like that could also, I wouldn't fault anyone for taking the Titans points.
No, you're right.
But yeah, get out of here with that. You can't get out of here with that.
Hey, I'm sticking with it.
Last game.
Colts at Jaguars. The Colts are 3.5-point favorites. I'm picking the Jaguars because that's how the Colts-Jaguars matchups have gone for the longest time.
Yeah, and I'm picking the Colts.
All right.
I think this
is going to be a huge week for the bets. I'm telling you.
Listen, I'm saying this straight up. Like, I picked the Colts to win the division. I'm not going to falter after week 1. They laid an egg. They normally lay an egg week 1. I think the Jags are an incredibly young team, and the Jags are coming off a heartbreaking loss. They played very hard, and they deserve to probably win. So I think this is going to be a situation where the young team is going to, be a little upset that they disappointment from last week, and won't be able to recover, and the veteran team will get over their tie and take control of the AFC South.
I think it's going to be the Jaguars after the way last season ended up.
But I also think the Colts are motivated. The Colts are motivated to make it
with Matty Ice, yeah. All-star quarterback Matty Ice.
Okay.
Almost choked last week against the Houston Texans with Davis Mills.
When I go 5-0 on picks, and you go 2-3, you can talk.
Talk a big game. Talk a big game. And we can't say anything like that because it very well could swing my direction too. So
we all know it won't.
And you know what? If you've seen any of the Rocky movies, you know the underdog wins. So, I don't want to hear about it. And it's about having fun. I like betting long shots. You know why? I picked the Chargers over the Chiefs because that makes a lot of sense.
The only underdog you didn't pick was the Bucks.
Because I know the Bucks are going to win. Like I know these other teams are going to win.
All right, we'll see.
But without further ado, those are our picks, and that's going to do it for the Buffalonian Podcasts, Betting on the Bills, brought to you by Kaz Source Podcast Network and Sports Epreneur Plus. So, Dom, without further ado, how do we always end these?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills. Monday night, let's get it.